Ayan gripped the old key tightly as he stepped into the abandoned house. The wooden floor groaned under his feet, dust swirling in the air like faded memories. Suddenly, he froze. A faint sound brushed against his ears. At first, he thought it was the wind. But no, it was a whisper. A soft, chilling whisper that spoke his name. Ayan, his heart pounded. The walls seemed alive, breathing, murmuring secrets from long ago. He wanted to run, but something pulled him deeper inside. In the far corner, something strange appeared, a door that hadn't been there before. Its surface was cracked, yet a lock gleamed faintly, as if waiting for the very key Ayan now held. He raised the key, his hand trembling. Could this be the lock the warning note spoke of, or was he about to unleash something far darker? Ayan turned the brittle pages carefully. Each one told the story of a man, an inventor who had once lived in the village. He was obsessed with time, building strange machines to control it. But his experiments twisted into something darker. Ayan turned the brittle pages carefully. Each one told the story of a Manan inventor who had once lived in the village. He was obsessed with time, building strange machines to control it. But his experiments twisted into something darker. The diary warned, "I sought to master time, but time does not serve. It devours." Ayan's hands shook as he read further. The final entries spoke of shadows that hunted anyone who disturbed the clocks, and a curse that bound the house forever. Suddenly, tick, tick, tick. Ayan's eyes darted around the room. The clocks, silent for years, were moving. Their hands spun wildly, faster and faster, filling the room with a deafening roar. The diary slipped from his grip and slammed shut. A cold wind swept through the chamber. Then, from the corner of the room, something began to stir. Intermission. The diary has revealed its terrifying secret. The clocks awaken, and something stirs in the shadows. But what lies ahead for Ayan? Will he survive the curse, or be lost in time forever? Stay with us after this short break, as the mystery deepens in the next part of The Forgotten Key. The air in the hidden room grew heavy, pressing down on Ayan's chest. He could barely breathe. From the darkest corner, a figure began to take shape. It stretched tall against the wall, yet it cast no shadow of its own. Its body was nothing but smoke and darkness, and in the middle of that void, two glowing eyes burned like embers. The clocks ticked faster, echoing like a heartbeat. Ayan stumbled back, clutching the diary, but the shadow spoke without moving its mouth. A voice like broken glass hissed, "Return what you opened, or be lost in time." A chill swept through Ayan's body. He realized the shadow wasn't just part of the curse. It was the curse. The diary trembled in his hands, as if it wanted to escape. But what would happen if he let it go? Ayan dropped the diary in terror. But the moment it hit the ground, the room twisted. The walls stretched like melted wax, and every door he ran to led him right back into the same chamber. The clocks ticked, louder, faster, till the sound was unbearable. It felt as though time itself was breaking apart. The shadow grew larger, its glowing eyes fixed on him. Desperate, Ayan snatched the diary again. The pages flipped open on their own, stopping at a single line scrawled in red ink. The key must be returned to the earth. Ayan's heart raced. The rusty key, the one that started it all, was still in his pocket. The shadow let out a deafening roar that rattled the very ground. Time was running out. If he didn't act quickly, he would be trapped in this nightmare forever. Ayan clutched the rusty key, his last hope against the curse. The shadow loomed over him, its glowing eyes pulsing like fire. its voice thundering, "Return it, or be consumed." With trembling hands, Ayan ran out of the collapsing house. The walls crumbled, the clocks shattered, yet the shadow followed, stretching across the ground like a storm. He fell to his knees in the same spot where he had first dug up the box. With all his strength, he pressed the key deep into the earth. The ground shuddered. A piercing scream split the air. The shadow writhed, shrinking, then dissolved into black dust, carried away by the wind. Silence. The house was gone. The hidden room, the diary, the whispers, all vanished as if they had never existed. Only the dirt beneath his hands remained. Ayan stood, shaken but alive. He never spoke of that night again. Yet sometimes, when the world is quiet, he swore he could still hear a faint ticking, as if time itself remembered. Ayan gripped the old key tightly as he stepped into the abandoned house. The wooden floor groaned under his feet, dust swirling in the air like faded memories. He wasn't sure what compelled him. What drew him to this forgotten place on the edge of town? Maybe it was the strange, almost magnetic pull of the key itself, discovered half buried beneath an old oak tree, wrapped in a brittle piece of parchment. The note was simple, almost a whisper on the page. "It waits." He took another step inside, the heavy door slamming shut behind him with a deafening boom. Darkness swallowed him whole for a moment before his eyes adjusted. Moonlight streamed through grimy windows, painting eerie silver stripes across furniture shrouded in white sheets, like silent, sleeping giants. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of decay and something else, something floral, like night-blooming jasmine, impossibly sweet and out of place. Ayan's heart hammered against his ribs. Every creak of the house seemed to be a breath, every gust of wind a sigh. He moved deeper, drawn by a faint, rhythmic sound. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It was the steady beat of a grandfather clock in the main hall, its pendulum swinging, even though its face was cracked and its hands were frozen at midnight. How was that possible? He traced the layer of dust on its glass casing, a chill running down his spine that had nothing to do with the cold. The whispering started then, so faint at first, he thought it was just the wind, but it grew, slithering from the walls, a chorus of hushed voices with no discernible words. They seemed to coil around him, pulling at the edges of his senses. Goosebumps erupted on his arms. He clutched the key, its cold metal a small comfort against his clammy palm. The note sighed its weights. But what was it? He found the diary on a small, dust-covered writing desk. It was bound in cracked leather, its pages yellowed and fragile. The script inside was elegant, but frantic, telling a story of a family haunted by a shadow, a curse bound to the house itself. The final entry was a chilling warning. The shadow sees all. It desires only what was taken. Return the heart of the house, or be consumed by its silence. The heart of the house? Ayan looked at the key in his hand. Could it be? As if summoned by the thought, a shadow detached itself from a dark corner of the room. It wasn't a normal shadow cast by an object. It was a void, a patch of pure, featureless black that seemed to absorb the light around it. It stretched and warped, forming a tall, slender figure without a face, without any features at all, except for the cold, crushing sense of dread it radiated. It didn't speak, but a voice echoed in Ayan's mind, cold and ancient. Return it. Panic seized him. Ayan turned and ran, but the house seemed to fight him. The hallway he'd just come down stretched into an impossible length. The front door, a distant speck. He scrambled for another exit, but every door he opened led not to the outside, but back into another room of the house. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, weaving with the relentless ticking of the clock, which now sounded like a monstrous, booming heartbeat. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The walls seemed to breathe, closing in on him. The air grew thick, making it hard to draw a breath. The faceless shadow flowed through the walls, always just behind him, a constant, terrifying presence. He was trapped in a maze, a living, breathing prison. The diary's words echoed in his head, consumed by its silence. He understood now. The curse didn't just haunt the house, it was the house. And it was hungry. He had to break the cycle. The front door was impossible to reach. But what about the source? The diary said. Return what was taken. He hadn't taken the key asterisk from asterisk the house. He'd found it asterisk outside asterisk. That was it. The curse wasn't about keeping things in, but about something that was taken out. He had to return the key not to the house, but to the earth it came from. He spotted a window, its glass miraculously intact. With a surge of adrenaline, he shoved the heavy writing desk toward it. With a final, desperate heave, he climbed onto the desk and smashed the window pane with his elbow. Shards of glass rained down as he scrambled through the opening, tumbling onto the overgrown lawn outside. The night air was a shocking, beautiful relief. The whispers faded, and the oppressive ticking in his head soft. He didn't stop running until he reached the old oak tree where his journey began. His hands trembled as he dug into the soft earth at its base, the same spot where he'd found the key. He placed the old, rusty key back into the hole and covered it with dirt, patting the ground firmly. He buried it deep, as if burying a secret. As the last bit of soil covered the spot, a profound silence fell over the night. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, as if the world itself had exhaled. The house stood on the hill, dark and still once more. Ayan stared at the house, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The curse was broken. He had returned the heart. He turned to leave, a wave of exhaustion washing over him. He was safe. But just as he took his first step toward home, a sound reached him on the gentle breeze. Faint, but unmistakable. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Some mysteries, it seems, are never truly over. Thank you so much for joining me on this chilling adventure. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.